Welcome to the deep dive. We're looking at something pretty interesting today. Gratitude, but maybe not how you usually think about it.
Right. We're using a chapter from The Gift of Wisdom. It used to be called The Manual for Teachers, apparently.
Exactly. And this chapter, the one for March, focuses on gratitude. It's really aimed at people who've already done some work on, self-awareness, what the text calls the steps to authenticity.
Mm-hmm. So people ready to explore living more from a soul perspective rather than just the everyday ego.
Yeah, and the core idea, the really unique thing here, is that this text gives you daily affirmations.
Affirmations designed to be like direct communication, right?
Yeah.
From your soul or God, as it says, straight to your brain.
Exactly. So it's not just knowing about the soul. It's supposed to help you actually know yourselves as the soul. It's a shift in experience.
A pretty fundamental shift.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. To really unpack the soul's view on gratitude using this March chapter, we're going beyond the usual thank yous.
Okay, let's get into it. So the first big point the text makes is that the soul is, well, always grateful. Constantly.
Always. And what's it most grateful for?
Opportunities to serve. That seems to be top of the list. Like its main purpose is contribution.
That resonates with a lot of spiritual ideas, doesn't it? Selfless service as a path.
It does. It suggests maybe that urge we feel to help isn't just, a learned behavior, but something deeper coming from the soul level.
Interesting. And it also says the soul is grateful for even like the smallest sign that we're listening.
Yeah, that our mind-body vehicle, as it calls us, is actually tuning into its guidance. And apparently there's real joy there when that connection clicks.
Wow. And who does the soul think? It's not just us, right?
No, it's broader. It thinks life itself described as the largest soul collective.
Okay, that's a big concept.
And it also thanks our own individual soul for its courage, really, for being willing to face the hard stuff, the challenges, even those really, really difficult people we sometimes encounter.
So there's this sense of being part of something huge, but also acknowledgement for the individual struggle.
Precisely. The soul isn't alone. It's part of this big web of life. But the journey itself, our personal journey, takes guts. And the text acknowledges that with gratitude.
And it makes a distinction, doesn't it, between everyday gratitude and this deeper soul gratitude.
Mm-hmm. It calls the everyday stuff character-level thankfulness, which is fine, but the soul's gratitude goes deeper.
Deeper how?
It's particularly moved, it seems, by acts of kindness done just. Because with absolutely no expectation of getting anything back, purely selfless acts.
Like the examples it gives, people helping people, groups pitching in, even countries giving aid without strings attached.
Exactly, and it says in those moments the soul shine. It's like we get a flash of what's really real beyond the ego's usual agenda.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me.
Mm-hmm.
These moments, even if they're brief, they mean a lot to the soul.
Huge significance, yeah. They're like little sparks of hope. Hope that eventually the soul's perspective, its way of being, will become dominant.
Dominant enough to, and I'm quoting here, usurp the ego once and for all. That's strong language.
It is strong. It definitely paints a picture of a kind of inner dynamic, maybe even a struggle, between the ego's self-focus and the soul's drive for connection and service.
So these selfless moments become, what, like signposts?
Yeah.
Showing the way towards living more from the soul.
That's a good way to put it. Signposts on the path.
Okay, before we jump right into the March affirmations, the text gives some guidance on how to use this whole gift of wisdom thing.
Right. It suggests you kind of need that foundation first, the steps to authenticity, that self-awareness work.
And then you just start on whatever the current date is. You don't have to go back to January 1st or anything.
Mm-hmm. And the idea is each month tackles a different aspect of wisdom, like gratitude in March, to help quiet the mind.
Quiet the mind so the soul can get a word in.
Pretty much. To create space for soul growth, for serving the soul, instead of just the ego's demands.
Makes sense. That quieting the mind part feels crucial, like meditation or mindfulness, creating that inner stillness.
Absolutely. Otherwise, the affirmations might just bounce off the everyday mental noise.
All right, let's dive into March, gratitude. The first 2 days, March 1st and 2nd, are pretty direct.
Yeah. I am grateful for you until you realize that we are one, and then just, I am you.
Wow. Straight into a oneness. That until in the first one is interesting, though.
It is. Like the gratitude is a constant presence, holding that space until you get it, until you realize that deep connection is like a guide towards that realization.
And I am you
Mm-hmm.
is like the destination, the result of realizing it.
Seems that way. It hits that theme of profound interconnectedness right off the bat. Gratitude is the bridge to seeing we're all fundamentally connected.
Then March 3rd, Every step you take in the name of love brings you closer to me.
So action matters,
Yeah.
specifically action motivated by love. It connects what we do directly to spiritual progress, to getting closer to the soul.
Not just big actions either, right? Could be
Yeah,
small, everyday things.
exactly. Any step, as long as it's rooted in love, moves you closer. It reframes daily choices.
Okay, now for the ones that might feel a bit weird. March 4th. I am grateful for all of the challenging times you have provided for me.
And later, March 7th and 8th, we get the hard times may have been your greatest teacher, and the hard times point you to me. Gratitude for hardship.
Yeah, that definitely goes against the grain of how we usually feel about tough times.
But from the soul's perspective, the long view, maybe challenges are valuable. They force growth, right? They make us learn things, maybe shed old patterns.
And point you to me suggests that it's during those hard times we might actually look for something deeper. Look beyond the ego.
That seems to be the idea. When things are easy, we might not search as deeply. Hardship can crack us open to soul guidance.
But it's not all about hardship, thankfully. March 5th mentions gratitude for tender moments.
And March 9th for good times, calling them breaks from life's hard lessons.
So there's an appreciation for balance, for the breaks, the joy, the easier moments too.
Definitely. It values both. The challenges push growth, the good times allow for integration, rest, maybe gathering strength for whatever's next. It's a balanced view of the journey.
Which leads into March 10th. Life knows what we need to experience before we can merge as one.
So that introduces this element of trust, doesn't it? A bigger picture.
Yeah, like there's some underlying wisdom to how things unfold, even if we don't get it at the time. A purpose to our experiences.
A purpose leading towards that oneness, that merging. It suggests trusting the process of life itself.
And that merging is clearly the goal. March 11th and 12th state it plainly. Merging as one cohesive, individual expression of God is the goal.
And crucially, everyone's goal, whether they realize it or not. That's huge.
It really is. It positions this drive towards unity, towards wholeness, as fundamental to just being,
Yeah.
part of the soul's very nature.
Whether we're conscious of it or not, that pull is there.
Then the focus shifts a bit to how the soul shows up in everyday life.
Right. Like being there to comfort you in your worst times, March 13th.
Or gently nudging you away from ego stuff, March 14th.
And even being present in really personal moments, first kiss, March 15th. Or when you have to explain messing up, March 16th.
It makes the soul seem less like an abstract concept and more like a constant companion.
An active presence.
Exactly. Not distant, but involved.
Yeah.
In the highs, the lows, the ordinary moments, offering that comfort and guidance.
I thought it was fascinating how March 18th links optimism directly to the soul.
And March 19th says feelings of gratitude pop up when we actually listen to the soul's nudges.
So those positive feelings aren't random. They're signals that we're aligned with our deeper self.
That's the implication. And that alignment apparently has an outward effect too.
How so?
March 20th and 21st suggest that when you're living from that soul space, other people can see it or feel it, and it might even help them recognize their own soul.
Like a ripple effect. Soul recognizing soul.
Kind of, yeah. A chain reaction of awareness. Then things get really cosmic. March 22nd to 27th basically say the whole point of, well, everything, this entire Earth project, is about the soul's journey.
And that the soul is the only part of us that really lasts, because it's part of God, part of that divine reality.
That definitely puts daily frustrations into perspective.
It certainly broadens the view. It frames our whole life experience as fundamentally about soul evolution, about something much bigger and more enduring than the day-to-day.
And it even tackles the nature of reality itself,
Yeah.
around March 28th to 30th.
Yes, presenting God or the divine source as this constant eternal light, the only thing that's ultimately real.
And all the struggles, the resistance to God, as it calls it.
That's framed as temporary, a mechanism, almost an illusion, designed purely to help the soul grow stronger, to learn.
Like resistance training for the soul.
That's one way to think about it, a temporary setup for growth, not the ultimate reality.
And it all circles back to oneness and gratitude at the end of March. March 31st.
Complete gratitude arrives when you eventually realize that we are one and the same.
And when that happens, the superficial stuff, the character will fade away. You will live forever.
So true gratitude, in this view, isn't just saying thanks for things. It's the natural state that arises when you deeply realize that interconnectedness, that eternal soul self, the ego stuff just dissolves in that understanding.
Wow. Okay, so summing up this deep dive into March, Gratitude from the soul's viewpoint is way bigger than we thought.
It's tied into service, into finding value in challenges for growth, and this ultimate realization of being one with everything.
It's less an action, more a state of being that comes from deep connection.
Exactly. And the unique angle here is using these affirmations as a tool, a direct line almost, to cultivate that soul awareness and its inherent gratitude.
A practical way to try and shift from that limited ego view to the soul's much wider perspective.
Right, a daily practice.
So here's a final thought for you listening. Take a moment to think about a really challenging time in your life. Now, try, just for a moment, to look at it through this lens we've been discussing. Can you see any way the soul might have been grateful for the growth opportunity within that difficulty?
Even if it feels like a stretch. What new perspective, if any, does that offer you right now?
Something to mull over. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.